The lights of the medical bay flickered as the emergency doors burst open. A thick cloud of smoke rolled in, followed by the sound of metal scraping against metal. The air smelled of burnt circuits and alien blood. Red warning lights flashed across the white walls, bathing everything in a trembling crimson glow. 2 soldiers in black exosuits entered first, their boots thudding hard against the floor. Between them, a huge shape dragged itself forward. It was not just a creature. It was a mountain of muscle, fur, and steel. Its claws were long and curved, leaving deep marks on the floor as it moved. The alien beast let out a low, broken growl. Its body shuddered with each breath, glowing red wounds pulsing across its fur. Mechanical implants sparked along its spine, flickering like dying fireflies. Dr. Rian, the chief alien medic, stepped forward to see what had arrived. When his eyes met the creature's, his skin turned pale green. "By the stars, is that a Varkol?" he whispered, his voice trembling. The soldiers said nothing. They looked shaken themselves. One of them simply nodded and stepped aside, letting the creature collapse onto the metal floor with a deafening thud. The medbay filled with silence. The only sound was the lab's machines beeping wildly as they tried to scan the creature's unstable body. The energy readings jumped off the charts. No normal life form could survive that kind of internal damage. Dr. Rian took a step closer, then froze. The Varkol's single red eye moved, focusing on him. It was a gaze filled with something deeper than rage, and it was pain. Endless, unbearable pain. "Get restraints," Rian barked, his voice shaking. "Lock down every access port. Don't let it move." Assistants rushed forward, but as one of them reached for the creature's arm, it twitched. The motion alone was enough to throw the assistant across the room. The alien slammed into a medical pod and fell to the floor, motionless. "Back. Everyone back," Rian shouted, fear rising in his throat. "We can't treat this thing. It's too dangerous." The medics looked at each other. None of them moved. Then the creature lifted its head. Its mouth opened slightly, revealing sharp metallic teeth and a low, trembling sound. It wasn't a roar. It wasn't a growl. It was a cry. The medics froze again. For a moment, the fear turned into confusion. Could such a terrifying creature be in pain? Could it be afraid? Before anyone could decide, the Varkol systems flared. Blue sparks danced across its body, the implants overheating. The room's alarms blared. "Warning, containment breach risk. Recommend full evacuation." That was the final straw. Dr. Rian grabbed his data pad and turned to his team. "We're leaving, now." "But Dr. One assistant started. "I said now." "That thing will explode or kill us all." Within seconds, the alien medics ran out, pushing each other through the exit. The heavy doors sealed behind them, leaving the wounded creature alone in the flickering red light. For a moment, the medbay was silent again, except for the slow, rasping sound of the creature's breathing. Then footsteps echoed. A single figure walked through the opposite door. A human, Dr. Sam Carter, stepped into the chaos. His white suit was smeared with dust, his face tired but calm. He had seen worse. He had worked on battlefields where even machines screamed like living things, but this was something different. The creature's glowing red eyes turned to him immediately. The warning alarm still rang, but Sam didn't stop. He walked forward slowly, carefully. "Easy," he whispered to himself, his voice soft and steady. He could see now that the creature's right arm was nearly torn apart. Deep wounds showed both flesh and metal. The smell of blood and burnt oil mixed in the air. The creature's breathing hitched, and it let out another deep sound, something between a growl and a plea. Sam stopped a few feet away and set down his medical kit. "I know," he said quietly. "You're hurt, but I'm not here to hurt you." The AI voice spoke again from the ceiling. "Warning. Human presence detected in restricted danger zone." Sam ignored it. He knelt down, opening his kit, his hands moving carefully, calmly. The creature's massive claws twitched, scraping the floor. It was watching him, eyes glowing brighter with every heartbeat. Sam could feel the heat coming from its wounds. The metal under his boots was warm. He looked up at the creature again. "You're scared, aren't you?" It tilted its head slightly, almost like it understood. Sam slowly reached out his gloved hand. "It's okay. I'm here to help." For a tense few seconds, nothing happened. The creature's eyes narrowed, its muscles tensed, and its claws dug deeper into the floor. The air seemed to stop moving. Then, with a low rumble, the alien shifted its weight slightly and allowed Sam to come closer. He touched its arm, gently, carefully. The fur was coarse, soaked with blood. Beneath it, the metal implants were hot and cracked. Sam pulled out a scanner and began to work. "You've got shrapnel near your core implants," he murmured. "If I don't stabilize it, you'll die in minutes." The alien's breathing slowed. The red glow from its wounds dimmed slightly. For the first time since entering the room, Sam felt the tension in his chest ease. Outside the door, the alien medics watched through the security feed, whispering among themselves. "The human, he stayed. He's touching it. Is he mad?" "He's helping it," another said in disbelief. Inside, Sam kept working, sweat running down his neck. He could feel the vibration in the creature's pulse through his gloves. It was like touching a star that refused to die. The alien twitched again, groaning softly. Sam placed a hand on its shoulder. "Easy, buddy," he said. "I know it hurts. Just hold on." For a moment, the creature looked at him, truly looked, and something changed in its eyes. The rage faded, the fear softened. There was only exhaustion and trust. In the silent medbay, surrounded by smoke and flickering lights, one human knelt beside a dying alien monster, not with fear, not with weapons, but with compassion. And somewhere, deep within that creature's broken body, a faint heartbeat answered him. The medbay was quiet now, except for the slow hum of machines trying to keep up with the creature's unstable vitals. Dr. Sam Carter wiped sweat from his brow and took a deep breath. The air still smelled of burning circuits and blood, but he didn't care. He was too focused to notice. In front of him, the massive Varkol shifted slightly. Its breathing came in heavy, shaking bursts. Every inhale sounded like thunder trapped inside a cage. Sam could feel the vibration through the metal floor. He adjusted the scanner on his wrist and studied the readings. "Heart rate, critical but steady. You're tougher than you look, big guy," he said softly. The creature made a low rumble. Not quite a growl, not quite a sigh. It was somewhere in between. Sam smiled faintly. "I'll take that as a thank you." He reached for a small tube of nanogel from his kit and began sealing one of the deep wounds along the alien's forearm. The gel shimmered, activating instantly, spreading across the torn flesh and metal. Blue light pulsed from the wound as it started to close. The Varkol twitched but didn't pull away this time. Its red eyes followed every move Sam made. The human worked slowly, whispering to himself as if speaking to calm a frightened animal. "See? That's not so bad. You've just got to let me help. Easy does it?" For the first time in his life, Sam wasn't sure if he was talking to a patient or a storm. The creature's presence was overwhelming, ancient, powerful, and wild. Yet beneath all that fury, he could sense fear. He remembered what the alien medics had said before they ran. "It will kill us all." But looking at it now, Sam didn't see a killer. He saw something wounded and alone. The AI voice broke the silence again. "Alert. Human life signs in proximity of Class Omega life form. Evacuation strongly advised." Sam frowned. "Yeah, not helping," he muttered. He silenced the alert and continued working. Minutes passed. The gel had sealed most of the open wounds, but the creature's internal readings still fluctuated dangerously. Sam scanned deeper and found something worse. A piece of metal lodged near its central implant, dangerously close to the heart. "Damn," he whispered. "You've got shrapnel in your core." He leaned closer, inspecting the wound. It was deep, hidden beneath thick fur and reinforced plating. Removing it would be a nightmare, but leaving it meant certain death. Sam looked at the creature's face. "This is going to hurt a lot, but if I don't do this, you won't make it." The alien blinked slowly as if it understood. "Okay then," Sam said, steadying his hands. "Let's do this." He activated a small surgical drone from his kit. The drone buzzed softly, extending delicate tools like fingers of light. Sam guided it toward the wound, his eyes focused on the display in front of him. As the drone dug deeper, the creature let out a deep growl. The sound shook the walls. The floor vibrated beneath Sam's knees, but he didn't back away. I know, he said calmly. "Almost there." "Stay with me." The drone beeped. It had found the fragment. Slowly, carefully, it began to extract it. A jagged piece of alloy still glowing faintly from impact heat. The alien jerked suddenly, its claws tearing through the floor panels. Sparks flew. Sam's scanner went wild. "Hold on," he shouted, pressing his hand against the creature's arm. "I've got it." The drone pulled the fragment free with a metallic click. The wound gushed, then sealed immediately as Sam activated another round of nanogel. The Varkol shuddered violently, then fell still. Its breathing slowed to a heavy rhythm, the rage fading from its eyes. Sam sat back, heart pounding. For a long moment he just stared at the massive alien before him. "You did it," he whispered. "You actually made it." He didn't know whether the creature could understand him, but when it opened its eyes again there was something new in its gaze. Not hostility, but recognition. Sam smiled, tired but relieved. "That's better, huh? Guess we're both still alive." He packed away his tools and leaned against a console, catching his breath. The medbay was quiet again. Too quiet. Outside the sealed door, several alien officers and medics were watching through the glass. Their eyes were wide with disbelief. None of them had dared to return since fleeing earlier, but curiosity had pulled them back. One of the officers, a tall reptilian being, whispered, "He's still alive?" Another nodded. "And the beast hasn't killed him." How is that possible?" Inside, Sam ignored them. He placed his hand on the creature's shoulder again. "You're going to be fine," he said softly. "You just needed someone not to run away this time." The alien blinked again, its massive head lowering slightly. It made a faint rumble that almost sounded like gratitude. Sam chuckled under his breath. "You know, you're not so scary when you're not trying to eat people." He stood up, stretching his back. The exhaustion was catching up to him, but he wasn't done yet. The creature still needed stabilization fluids. He moved toward the storage unit, grabbed a pair of injectors, and returned to the table. "This will help your system balance," he explained, more to himself than to the alien. "Can't have your organs shutting down after all that excitement." He carefully injected the fluids into 2 ports along the alien's spine. The readings on his wrist screen began to steady. Pulse, oxygen, and temperature, all returning to near normal. Sam let out a deep sigh. "There we go. You're stable." He sat down beside the creature, resting his arms on his knees. The hum of the equipment felt almost comforting now. The chaos had faded into calm. The Varkol turned its head slightly, its gaze meeting his. For a moment neither of them moved. Then the creature's mouth opened and a deep, rough sound emerged. Almost words, but broken. "Human. State, not fear." Sam froze. His eyes widened, a chill running down his spine. The translator in his earpiece struggled to process the sound, but the meaning came through clear enough. He smiled slowly. "That's right," he said softly. "I stayed." The creature blinked once, then closed its eyes, finally allowing itself to rest. Sam sat there in the dim light, staring at the faint rise and fall of its chest. He didn't feel like a hero. He didn't even feel brave. He just knew that walking away wasn't an option. And somewhere deep in the silence he realized that simple act of staying might have just changed everything. The lights in the medbay dimmed to a soft blue as the emergency alarms finally went silent. Hours had passed since the chaos, and the ship outside had returned to its steady hum. The battle was over, but for Dr. Sam Carter, the real fight had only just begun. The Varkol rested on the reinforced medical bed, breathing heavy but steady. Every breath sounded like wind through broken stone. The nanogel patches glowed faintly along its wounds, shimmering with pale light. The creature looked peaceful now, as peaceful as a living weapon could look. Sam sat beside it, his body aching, his eyes red from exhaustion. He hadn't left the medbay since it arrived. Every other medic had refused to come back. The doors remained sealed. It was just him and the beast. He leaned back against the cold wall, staring at the alien's massive frame. "You really are something else," he muttered. He remembered the first time he heard about the Varkol. Back during the war, they were the monsters whispered about in human camps. Whole units had been destroyed by a single Varkol. The military called them living tanks. The stories said their claws could tear through armor, that they felt no pain, no fear, and only rage. But sitting here now, watching the creature's chest rise and fall, Sam couldn't see a monster. He saw a soldier, broken, wounded, abandoned. He reached for his datapad and began recording his notes. Patient log. Unknown Varkol hybrid, severely injured during battle near Orion's edge. Current status, stable. Hostile behavior minimal. Displays, emotional response to speech. He paused, thinking about the last words it had spoken. Human stay, not fear. The voice was still echoing in his head, rough, deep, uncertain. like someone trying to remember a forgotten language. He closed his eyes for a moment. "How many years have we spent killing each other?" he whispered. "And for what?" A low rumble answered him. Sam opened his eyes. The Varkol's single red eye was open again, dim but aware. Sam straightened. "Hey there. You're awake." The creature blinked slowly. Its breathing deepened. Sam could tell it was in pain, but it didn't lash out. It just stared at him, studying him like he was something strange, maybe even impossible. "You can understand me, can't you?" Sam asked gently. The creature didn't answer, but its gaze followed his voice. Its fingers twitched slightly, like it wanted to move but couldn't. Sam smiled faintly. "It's okay. You don't need to talk, just rest. You're safe here." He turned back to his data pad, typing slowly. The subject displays awareness and limited comprehension. Suggests higher cognitive recovery rate than standard Varkol class. He stopped again, sighing. Standard Varkol class. Like we know what that means. We've spent decades shooting at them, but we never tried to talk to one. The memory hit him hard. The sound of human soldiers shouting, the red skies of Orion's battlefield, the smell of smoke and metal. He remembered his first day on the front lines, patching up bodies, human and alien alike. Every side had claimed to fight for peace. Every side had called the other monsters. He looked at the creature again. "Maybe we're not that different," he said softly. The Varkol's eye blinked once. Slow, deliberate. Sam laughed under his breath. "You're listening, aren't you?" The alien's throat vibrated faintly, a deep hum rolling through the air. It wasn't a word, but the sound was calm, almost like a reply. Sam's communicator buzzed suddenly. The sound broke the moment. He tapped it. "This is Carter. Dr. Carter," came the voice of the alien commander outside the door, sharp and cold. "We've reviewed the security footage. You disobeyed evacuation orders," Sam sighed. "Yes, sir, I did. You realize that creature has killed hundreds of our soldiers?" "I'm aware," Sam said, glancing at the sleeping beast. "But it's not trying to kill anyone now." The commander's voice hardened. "You're playing with fire, human. That thing should have been destroyed on sight." Sam's tone stayed calm. "If we destroy everything we don't understand, we'll never stop fighting." Silence on the line. Then quietly, "You risked your life for a monster." Sam looked back at the alien's face, softer now in the low light. "I didn't see a monster," he said. "I saw someone in pain." The line cut off. Sam placed the communicator down and rubbed his temples. He knew the council wouldn't like his defiance. But he also knew he couldn't have done it any other way. When he looked up again, the creature was watching him. Its red eye glowed faintly, reflecting the medbay lights. "You heard that, didn't you?" Sam said quietly. The creature's head moved slightly. Sam smiled tiredly. "Yeah, I get that look a lot." He stood and walked toward the observation window, staring at the stars outside. Endless black dotted with cold fire. "You know, when I joined the Intergalactic Health Corps, I thought I'd be saving lives, not patching up soldiers so they could go back to killing more people." Behind him, the alien let out a low hum, a sound that almost felt like agreement. Sam turned back, surprised. "You too, huh? Guess even you got tired of war." He moved closer again, checking the vitals. The readings were steady now, but the heart rate spiked slightly whenever he spoke. It wasn't random. It was responding to his voice. He leaned down. "You remember the war, don't you?" The alien's claws twitched. The muscles along its neck tightened. A deep growl filled the room, but it wasn't anger, it was sorrow. Sam nodded slowly. "Yeah, me too." For a moment, there was nothing, no machine sounds, no alarms. Just two survivors sitting in the silence of a cold metal room, both haunted by the same ghosts. Then, without warning, the alien lifted one hand and slowly, carefully, and placed it against its chest. Its claws tapped once, twice. A gesture. Sam frowned. "What does that mean?" The creature hesitated, then tapped again, this time pointing toward him. Sam blinked. "You're saying same?" The Varkol gave a low rumble that might have been a yes. Sam swallowed hard. "You lost people too, didn't you?" The creature closed its eyes. That was all the answer he needed. He sat back down, voice quiet now. "Then maybe we can stop losing." The alien didn't speak again, but its breathing slowed, peaceful once more. Sam leaned against the wall, staring up at the ceiling. His body was tired, but his mind was wide awake. Something had changed. For the first time in his life, he didn't just feel like a doctor. He felt like the beginning of something new, something that might end a century of hate. And as the stars drifted quietly beyond the medbay glass, one truth settled in his heart. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in fighting harder, it's in refusing to run away. The silence in the medbay didn't last long. Hours after the last recorded entry, the lights began to flicker again. The hum of the ship deepened, vibrating through the floor like a distant storm. Dr. Sam Carter was still at his station, his eyelids heavy but his mind sharp. The Varkol's condition had been stable for most of the night. Until now, he glanced at the monitor. The creature's vitals were spiking, heart rate soaring, body temperature climbing fast. The blue glow of the nanogel on its wounds began to fade, replaced by a dull, pulsing red. No, Sam muttered, running to the bedside. He tapped at his scanner, reading the data pouring in. Core implant rejection. Damn it. The Varkol's body convulsed, claws digging into the reinforced table. Sparks burst from one of the mechanical implants on its chest, lighting up the room in brief flashes. Sam pressed his hand on the creature's shoulder. Easy, buddy. Stay with me, the creature roared, not in anger this time, but agony. The sound shook the walls. Glass panels trembled. The medbay lights flared bright white, then dimmed again. The AI voice came alive, urgent and cold. Warning. Containment field at 70%. Recommend immediate evacuation. Sam ignored it. He adjusted the injector and prepared a stabilizer serum. His fingers trembled slightly. This was new territory, something the medbay was never designed to handle. He injected the serum near the creature's main artery. For a second, nothing happened. Then the readings jumped again, wilder than before. Damn it. He slammed the console. The serum's not enough. The door hissed open behind him. Alien officers flooded the entryway, weapons raised. The commander, a tall reptilian with sharp silver scales, barked, "Step away from it, human." That thing's going to detonate. Sam didn't move. I can fix this. The commander's eyes narrowed. Fix it, you're a fool. It's rejecting every synthetic compound we've ever used. You'll kill yourself staying in this room. Sam shook his head, already digging through his bag. You don't understand. It's not the drugs. It's the system. Its own implants are killing it. He pointed to the readings. Whoever rebuilt this creature, they forced incompatible tech into living tissue. If I don't recalibrate the core within the next 3 minutes, it'll burn out from the inside. The commander hesitated. The soldiers around him exchanged uneasy glances. 3 minutes, Sam repeated, not waiting for permission. Now either help me or get out. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the commander slowly lowered his weapon. You're insane, human, he muttered. But do it. Sam turned back to the Varkol. All right, big guy, you've got to trust me one more time. He grabbed a plasma tool and sliced open the outer plating on the creature's chest, exposing the glowing implant beneath. The heat hit him like an oven blast. Inside, the energy core pulsed violently, white light searing against his visor. Sweat rolled down his neck. You really don't make this easy, huh? The creature's breathing came out in rough bursts, each one weaker than the last. Sam reached in, carefully unplugging one of the overheated cables. The metal burned through his gloves, but he didn't stop. He could smell his suit melting, the stench of scorched fabric mixing with the alien's blood. Almost there, he whispered through gritted teeth. Just hang on. The monitor shrieked, heartbeat dropping. No. He grabbed the secondary cable and linked it to his portable regulator. Sparks flew. The light from the core flared, bathing the whole medbay in blinding white. Then, silence. Everything went dark. Sam blinked through the haze, chest heaving. The emergency lights kicked in a second later, casting the room in pale red again. He looked down. The readings were steady. The core was stable. The creature's eyes flickered open, weak but alive. Sam smiled, exhausted. There you go. I told you we'd make it. The alien's mouth opened slightly, forming rough, broken words. Man. Not fear, Sam nodded. Never. Behind him, the commander stepped closer, lowering his weapon fully now. You risked your life for a monster, he said softly. Sam didn't look up. I risked it for a patient. The commander stared at him for a long time, his expression unreadable. You're either the bravest fool I've ever met, or the only sane one, Sam chuckled weakly. I'll take either. The alien officers holstered their weapons and left the room one by one. Only the commander stayed behind a moment longer, watching the human doctor beside the wounded beast. For the first time, something like respect flickered in his eyes. When the door finally sealed again, silence returned. But this time it wasn't heavy. It was peaceful. Sam sat on the floor, leaning against the medical bed. His gloves were half burned, his hands shaking. The creature's breathing filled the room like a slow, steady drum. "You did good," Sam said quietly. "We both did." The Varkol turned its head slightly toward him. "Pain, I gone," it rumbled. Sam smiled. "Yeah, I noticed." He looked around the med bay, the broken panels, the cracked floors, the scattered tools. Everything was ruined, but somehow it didn't matter. The impossible had just happened. The AI's voice came back online, softer now. "Status, lifeform stable. Human vitals declining. Recommend rest." Sam laughed under his breath. "You're learning to care too, huh?" He leaned back, staring at the ceiling lights. For a brief moment, he allowed himself to relax. The hum of the ship outside returned, steady and low. Beyond the reinforced glass, the stars moved slowly across the void. Sam whispered, "You know, they'll never understand what happened here." The creature blinked, watching him closely. "They'll call me reckless," he continued, "say I should have let you die. But I don't care." The Varkol's deep voice rumbled again, more clearly this time. "Human, strong. Heart?" Sam's throat tightened. "Nah, just stubborn." He closed his eyes, listening to the rhythm of their breathing. One human, one alien. Alive against all odds. Somewhere deep within the ship, a new message pulsed through the network. A report that would soon reach every corner of the fleet. Human medic saved Class Omega life form. Creature shows no hostility. Possible communication achieved. It would cause uproar across the galaxy. Disbelief, debate, even anger. But none of that mattered now. In this small, wrecked medbay, there was only one truth. Compassion had done what war never could. The next morning, if time could be measured in the endless dark of space, the stellar arc drifted silently through the void. Its engines whispered like distant thunder, faint and calm. The ship had seen chaos, fear, and almost destruction. But now there was something new in the air, something the crew hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. Dr. Sam Carter stood by the medbay window, staring out at the endless stars. His uniform was torn, his hands wrapped in fresh bandages, and fatigue hung on him like a second skin. Yet his eyes burned bright. Behind him, the Varkol rested peacefully on the medical bed and no longer restrained. The breathing was steady, deep, like the slow rumble of a faraway storm. Its armor plates had begun to reform, glowing faintly blue under the ship's soft light. Sam had barely slept. The adrenaline had faded, replaced by quiet reflection. He didn't regret a single moment. When the door opened, the familiar metallic hiss broke his thoughts. Commander Reka stepped in, his posture stiff as ever, though his tone was softer this time. "Dr. Carter," he said with a slow nod. "You've become the talk of the ship." Sam turned halfway, arching a brow. "Is that good or bad?" Reka crossed his arms, his silver scales catching the light. "Depends who you ask. Half the officers think you're a hero, the other half think you're insane." Sam chuckled. "That's about my usual ratio." The commander's gaze shifted to the sleeping Varkol. "And that thing? Still alive?" "Very much," Sam replied. "And healing faster than I expected. Whatever tech they used on him, it's adapting now." Reka took a few steps closer. "You realize what this means, don't you? That creature was classified as hostile, the first of its kind to survive human contact." Sam shrugged. "Maybe it's time we change how we define hostile." Reka studied him for a long moment. "You humans, always questioning, always breaking rules that keep the rest of us alive." "Yeah," Sam said softly, looking back at the alien. "And sometimes, that's exactly what saves us." The commander said nothing more. Instead, he handed Sam a data chip, sleek, silver, engraved with the Alliance symbol. "What's this?" Sam asked. "The incident report. It's being transmitted to command as we speak. Along with your medical logs and my statement." Sam frowned. "You're sending it already?" Reka nodded. "They demanded immediate details after our distress signal." "You'll be famous before you even leave this ship." Sam gave a dry laugh. "Famous for ignoring orders and saving a life? That'll go over well." Reka's tone shifted. "You might be surprised. Before Sam could respond, the ship's intercom crackled. All crew prepare for communication relay transmission. Incoming link from Alliance Central. The commander straightened. They're calling in person. The bridge was quiet as the holographic projector came to life. A shimmering figure appeared, tall, cloaked in the blue light of command insignia. Admiral Thorne, one of the most respected humans in the Allied fleet. His voice was deep, calm, and full of authority. Commander Reka, the Admiral began. We received your report. And Dr. Carter's? Reka bowed slightly. Yes, sir. Thorne's gaze turned toward Sam. Dr. Carter, I've read what you did. You violated medical safety protocols, ignored containment orders, and risked the destruction of your ship. Sam's stomach tightened. He expected this. Then Thorne continued. And in doing so, you saved the life of a Class Omega war organism, a creature every other medical team has failed to keep alive for more than an hour. I have one question for you, Doctor. Why? Sam stood straight, his voice quiet but steady. Because it wasn't just a weapon, sir. It was alive. It was scared. Everyone else saw a threat. I saw a patient. The Admiral's expression softened just slightly. And you believe that made a difference? Yes, sir, Sam replied. It looked at me like it understood. Not as an enemy, not even as prey, just as another life trying to survive. For a moment, silence filled the bridge. Then the Admiral leaned back. Compassion in the face of fear. That's the best of what we are. He turned toward the commander. Reka, your report corroborates this? Yes, Admiral. I saw it myself, Reka replied. The human's action stabilized the creature. Without him, both the Varkol and this ship would have been lost. Thorne nodded. Then this incident will not be buried. It will be sent to the Council. Humanity has made its message clear. Empathy is not weakness. Sam blinked, barely believing it. Sir? Thorne's voice carried weight. We've spent centuries defining strength through domination. You just showed the galaxy another way. Congratulations, Dr. Carter. You've reminded us why humanity was invited into the Alliance in the first place. The hologram flickered out. The room stayed quiet, the words echoing long after the signal ended. Sam exhaled slowly. Well, he said, that could have gone worse. Reka gave a rare smirk. You underestimate your kind, Doctor. Maybe that's your greatest flaw. Sam smiled faintly. Maybe, but I'll take it. Hours later, when the corridors had emptied, Sam returned to the medbay. The Varkol was awake this time. Its eyes glowed softly under the dim lights, no longer wild or pained, just calm. It watched him approach, slow and steady. Sam pulled up a chair beside it. You scared everyone, you know that? The creature's deep voice rumbled, low but clear. Fear? No need. Sam grinned. Try telling that to the commander. The alien blinked, then spoke again. Human, not fear. Not leave, Sam nodded. That's right. I stayed. There was a long silence between them, the kind that didn't need words, just understanding. Finally, the Varkol shifted, its massive hand resting gently against the glass barrier between them. Sam placed his palm on the other side. For a brief moment, human and alien, two beings from opposite corners of the stars, shared something that no treaty or battle ever could. Trust. By the next cycle, the message had already spread across half the known sectors. The story of the human doctor who healed a monster traveled faster than any ship. In military outposts, alien medics replayed the footage in disbelief. In deep colonies, soldiers whispered the name Sam Carter like a legend. And in hidden corners of the galaxy, even among the Varkol's own kind, and the tale began to shift perceptions. Maybe humans weren't just another violent species. Maybe they were something more. Weeks passed since the incident. Aboard the Stellar Ark, what had begun as a crisis had transformed into something the galaxy hadn't seen in generations, a spark of change. Dr. Sam Carter had become a name that traveled faster than any fleet. Not as a soldier, not as a conqueror, but as a healer. He never asked for fame. He didn't care for medals or reports. His focus remained on the med bay, and on the strange hulking being that still occupied its reinforced bed. The Varkol's recovery was nearly complete. The once flickering core in its chest now pulsed steadily with a cool blue light. The creature had grown stronger, its armor plates reformed, its movements smooth and deliberate. But something else had changed too. Something deeper. It had learned to speak. Not perfectly, not fluently, but enough to make its thoughts known. That morning, Sam stood beside the bed adjusting a monitor. The creature's eyes followed him quietly. "You watch a lot for someone who barely blinks," Sam said with a faint smile. The Varkol's deep voice rumbled through the room. "You not run," Sam chuckled softly. "Guess that's what doctors do." The alien tilted its head, expression unreadable. "Others fear me." Sam's hand paused midair. "Maybe, but fear isn't the same as hate." The Varkol blinked slowly, processing the words. Then, almost quietly, it asked, "Why, you help?" Sam leaned against the wall, sighing. "Because someone had to. And because you were in pain." The creature lowered its head. "Pain, but heart." "Remember," Sam smiled faintly. "That's good. Remembering is how we change." A soft chime interrupted them. The ship's AI voice filled the room. "Attention, incoming shuttle. Designation, Varkol flagship Dread Sun. They request permission to dock." Sam straightened immediately. "They came for you." The creature's gaze shifted to the sealed door. Its breathing deepened. "Home," Sam nodded. "Yeah, looks like you're going home, buddy." When the flagship's delegation entered, the entire medbay seemed to shrink. 3 towering Varkol soldiers stepped through the door, their armor black and gleaming, their eyes sharp and cold. Between them stood a figure larger than any Sam had ever seen. A Varkol war leader, scarred and ancient, with energy veins pulsing like lightning under his skin. Commander Reka was already present, his stance formal. "Dr. Carter," he said quietly, "these are the Varkol emissaries. They've come to retrieve their warrior." Sam gave a cautious nod. "Welcome aboard." The war leader's gaze swept across the room, pausing on Sam for a long, silent moment. The weight of it was almost physical. Then, in a deep, growling tone, he spoke. "Human." "Yes," Sam replied simply. "You healed one of ours," the leader said. "Why?" Sam exhaled slowly. "Because he needed help, and because nobody else would." The war leader studied him for several seconds. His eyes flicked toward the now recovered Varkol soldier. "You understand what this means?" Sam hesitated. "Honestly, not really." The leader's voice softened slightly, though it still carried the power of command. "The one you saved in Korth was not merely a soldier. He was a guardian, protector of our kind. His loss would have meant war. His survival brings question." Sam frowned. "Question?" The leader nodded. "If a human heals what we called an enemy, what does that make us?" Reka shifted uncomfortably. The room fell silent again. Then Korth, the recovered Varkol, slowly rose from the medbed. His heavy steps echoed on the metal floor as he approached his leader. "Human, save," Korth said, voice low but clear. "Not enemy, friend." The leader's eyes widened slightly. The air seemed to hum with tension. None of the soldiers moved. Then the old warrior stepped forward, towering over Sam. For a long moment it looked like he might crush him where he stood. Instead, he extended one massive arm, palm open, the Varkol gesture of honor. Sam hesitated, then placed his smaller hand against it. The alien's skin was rough, warm, alive. "Then let it be known," the leader rumbled. "The Varkol do not forget. We will remember the human who healed the impossible." Reka's jaw tensed. That statement alone could alter the Treaty of Arcus. The leader turned to him. "Perhaps it should." Without another word, he motioned for Korth to follow. As they reached the door, the healed warrior paused, glancing back at Sam. "Easy, buddy," Korth said softly, mimicking Sam's own words from that first night. Sam froze. Then he smiled, eyes stinging slightly. "You remembered." Korth nodded once, then stepped onto the shuttle platform. Moments later, the airlock sealed, and the Varkol ship departed, a shadow disappearing into the light of distant stars. Days later, the Stellar Ark received a new transmission, encrypted, unknown source. Reka summoned Sam to the command deck. "It's addressed to you," he said, tapping the console. "And it came from Varkol Prime," Sam blinked. "That's impossible. They've never contacted us directly." "Play it," Reka ordered. The screen flickered, static. Then, the unmistakable form of Korth appeared, standing beneath the burning red skies of his homeworld. "Human Sam Carter." The deep voice rumbled. "Varkol live, Varkol learn." Behind him stood rows upon rows of his kind, Soldiers, workers, even younglings. None were armed. All watched the camera with quiet curiosity. Korth continued, "You show strength not in fight, but in heart. The Varkal, remember, the Varkal will change." Then, in surprisingly clear words, he said, "No more fear." The transmission ended. Sam stood motionless. The bridge was silent. Even Reka looked stunned. "That," he said softly, "was a message to the entire galaxy." Sam exhaled slowly, a small smile spreading across his face. "Guess compassion travels faster than light." Reka turned to him, eyes narrowing but thoughtful. "Maybe that's humanity's true weapon." Sam looked out at the stars beyond the glass. "Not a weapon," he said quietly. "A reminder." Far away across the endless dark, other races watched the broadcast. Some doubted it, some feared it, but many were moved. And somewhere in a deep corner of the galaxy, a story began to grow of a human doctor who didn't flee, who whispered two simple words to a creature everyone else had abandoned. "Easy, buddy." And in that whisper, the galaxy heard something it hadn't heard in ages. Not power, not control, but hope.